Hello and Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Nur Rosdiana and today I will be presenting to all of you about Marxism and international relations. So let's get started with the introduction. Okay, first and foremost, Marxism was founded by Karl Marx in the 19th century alongside his partner Friedrich Engels. Marxism is a conflict theory that explores the importance of economic strength in shaping political and social structures of the international system. So instead of focusing on human interaction in the political field, Marxism emphasizes more on the relationship between human societies and economic development, or in other words, the socio-economic sector. Therefore, it rejects the ideologies of realism and liberalism because these two theories tend to emphasize on political interactions as the main substance in the international sphere, while Marxism argues that political and social outcomes should be defined based on their relationship with their economic structures. So this phenomenon is also known as historical materialism, in which there are two distinct socio-economic classes within a capitalist economy, which are the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. So the bourgeoisie basically refers to the rich, while the proletariats refer to the poor or the working class of people. So Karl Marx believed that the bourgeoisie are oppressing or exploiting the proletariats for their own economic benefits through the supply of raw materials and low-cost labor. Okay, now we are going to look at Marxism and its relevancy to international relations through the world system theory and the dependency theory. And then we are going to relate it with an important international relations event in history, which is the First World War. So let's get right into it. Okay, world system theory was founded by Immanuel Wallerstein in the 19th century, and this theory analyzes the post-colonial international order that divides the world into three parts, which are the developed states, also known as the core or center, the developing states, which is the semi-periphery, and the less developed ones, which are the periphery. Okay, so at first, Karl Marx saw the world system consisting of only two groups of states, which are the core states and the periphery states only. So the core states represent the bourgeoisie class, while the periphery states represent the proletariat. So this way, Marx insisted that the core states exploited the peripheral states and benefit from them, where the core states acquire cheap labor and raw materials from the periphery, and they get to generate high profits through the production of valuable goods. Wallerstein, on the other hand, suggested that there is another group of states which had stabilized the system, and that is the semi-periphery. So the semi-periphery comprises developing states which are not too developed like the core states, but not very underdeveloped like the peripheral states either. So it stands in the middle between the core and the periphery. So now how does it stabilize the system? Through dependency theory. Okay, dependency theory in international relations examines the interactions between global states who are relying on one another for trade, economic interest, and many more. So from the process diagram right here, you can see that one group of states is depending on the other group of states. For example, the core states are depending on the semi-peripheral states for cheap labor and raw materials, while the semi-peripheral states are counting on the peripheral states for the cheapest labor and raw materials. So although in the end, the core states would still be the one who gets to consume the maximum economic benefits, the manufacturing of goods somehow is done on a more moderate scale and in a more stable process, that the peripheral states are not totally and directly exploited or economically oppressed by the core states. Finally, let's try to relate Marxism with one of the most significant events in the international relations history, which is the First World War. So World War I is the epitome of Marxism in the international relations theory. So Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov, or better known as Lenin, a Russian political theorist, came up with this ideology where the conflict that had led to World War I was caused by a capitalist economic structure where the bourgeoisie elites wanted full access to resources and markets through imperial expansion. So Lenin realized that this is the true cause of the First World War, which is the competition for imperial resources between the bourgeoisies. And this is also why, in the end, we have dominant core states and subordinate peripheral states. Alright, I think that should be all from me. I hope I have made my point clear and understandable for everyone. Thank you for listening.